Alrighty guys, well, we're back home obviously. Sorry I didn't bring you along when we unloaded the piggies, but it's not my place, it's Aaron's place, and I didn't bother asking them if I could record it or not, so I just left it. Anyway, they got unloaded, they're fine. And at some point here this afternoon, they'll be in the cooler. So what are we doing? Well, if you remember from when we tub ground, I had all that feed that blew around on the ground out here. We're gonna push all that stuff up, and I'll show you how I intend to do that without getting a bunch of dirt in it. These bales are covered up pretty good with cut feed, but that's fine. They'll shred out just fine. Or they'll be there for when we grind next time, one or the other. Not lined up here right. So the plan here is to grab 2 bales, and I know these bales are fairly solid, good hardcore solid wrap bales. I'm not centered, but I'll do that here right away. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. There, now we're centered, 100%. Anywho, so why did I grab 2 bales? Well, this way when I go to push the feed, I literally, all I do is tilt the bucket down and I let the bales ride along the ground, and they act as my blade, so to speak, when I'm pushing the feed up. That way, they won't dig into the ground at all and grab any dirt. They'll just skid along the ground and they'll grab, well, they might not grab 100% of all the cut feed, but they will grab 90% of it, which is fine by me. So we tilt her down, kind of like that. And I will have to make a couple of passes as I'm doing this because it is so heavy. Anywho, I'll bring you guys back here in a couple of minutes just to give you an idea on what it looks like. You can see it there. So yeah, it works not bad. Talk to you later. Well, now I'm just going to take a bucket load out, and I'm just gonna feed it on the ground, see what they do with it. So on the way home from dropping the piggies off, I stopped and picked up the mail. And there's a big brown envelope in the mail. from basically RCMP. And here it's a god darn ticket. So on October the 30th, day before Halloween, CP and I went to Moose Jaw for some business. And there's a section on number 1 highway where there's a construction zone. And it's windier than bugger that day. Wind was gusting, I think, almost to 70 that day. Anyways, there's nobody working whatsoever. And I'm driving CP's truck. Like, her truck is registered in her name. And I'm driving her truck. We're going to Moose Jaw. I'm following 3, 4, 5 other vehicles, including at least one semi in there. And I can't tell you how many people were behind me. And there's not a frigging soul working on the highway. Yes, we're in the orange zone. Speed limit is 60 kilometers an hour. Everybody's doing basically 70. And yep, the CP's truck got a fucking camera ticket. There's a camera in there. So anybody that's traveling number 1 highway, you come to that friggin' zone right there around the Grand Coulee area on the number 1 highway. There's a camera. Slow down. I was doing 71 kilometers an hour and we got a frigging ticket. Yeah. $366 frigging dollars. Because when you're in this orange zone, is what they call it, construction zone, when you're in that zone, the tickets triple. The only good thing about this whole scenario is there's no points going against either of our licenses because the ticket was issued through a camera. That's the only good thing. Piss me off. Son of a beehive. I'm not going to say I was not speeding. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is, in these construction zones, and when there's people working, or when there's a tow truck on the road, or police, or anything like that, I always, when there's guys working, physically working, you can see them from a mile away if they're working or not. I always slow right down to less than 60. Heck, on the number 1 highway or dual lane highway, if there's a vehicle parked with its flashing lights on the shoulder of the road, I move over. And if it's single lane, I still move over if there's no oncoming traffic to make sure that there's not going to be any issues. But if there's nobody friggin' working in these orange zones, in my estimation, those cameras should be shut off and the signs should be covered. Oh, we didn't feel like working today because it was too windy, so we just left everything run the way it was. What the hell, right? Bastards. Anyway, I'm out here making piles. Oop, that one. Those two are going to be a lot bigger than they should be for how many cows are out here. I will be coming out with bale processor just until I get all my feed bunks set the way I want them. I guess we're empty. Alrighty. Let's see how they do with this stuff. Later. Yes, I have a barbed wire gate that goes across here. And now I have a steel gate. Like that. Panel with a gate on the end of it. Because my wife struggles with barbed wire gates, and for going back and forth out to the bush, checking game cams, hunting is right around the corner, so on and so forth. This would just make it easier for her to get out there and back. I did try putting it here at the dugout gateway, but this is not very level, very uneven, and the gate was hitting the dirt. So she would have hated me to have it there. So I ended up putting it in the other spot. Anywho, this little tiny bale is going out for deer feed. They're not even gonna come to it until it gets really cold and there's snow on the ground, but it's a start. It'll introduce them and tell them, hey, there's food over here. So, and I got my chainsaw. I'm gonna cut a couple of poplar trees up from out this way. So anyway, I'll let you guys go. We'll bring you back in a bit. Alrighty guys, well, cutting a little wood. These big pieces are, you can literally feel the moisture in the middle. You can feel it on my hand, but they'll dry quick once we split it. That's poplar from out there where we pushed bush. And while some of this stuff I piled here last year in the fall, I figured they'd be good trees for firewood. It was standing deadwood. So we're gonna cut some of this poplar. This is some elm that's already been cut and sitting here for just about 2 years now. Same as this, and that's a big ass tree, let me tell you. And then a little more over there. You want a coffee table? That one over there, just cut it square? No? I don't think my blade is long enough to get through it in one pass. So.
There's metal in this one.
Pardon?
Is that just a hook?
Oh, nice. That's the tree from somebody had a clothesline hammered into there probably.
Well, I hope there's no chain in the tree.
Well, we'll find out when we split it open.
Anyway, was there just one tub?
Yeah, the other one is in the oiler. That big main trunk split into 4 other trunks. See that? One there, here, here, and here. So she was a big one. Anyway, I'll get to work at cutting. Talk to you guys in a little bit. Okay, well, now the fun part. Between that there and this here, to get it all stacked in here. pull the tarp off that motor.
Oh Lord.
This is the part that I don't like about this unit. So I welded this frame on here, and I'm gonna have to get that cover, that tin, welded onto here.
Put it on a hinge.
And that way wood's not falling on the muffler.
See one of those big logs? Stick it in the hole.
And we got all this to split yet too.
It needs another year.
That's birch. It'll be good now, I think.
Another year.
Anywho, no time like the present. Alrighty guys, well, we got all that wood put away, split, stacked up, stacked a little bit of birch. Some of the poplar was way too friggin' wet to put in the wood shack. So on our wood rack that I built 3 years ago, we stacked it on that, and it can dry out there for, you know what, until next year. Anyway, I just kind of patched that guy up. Right now it's the only bunk that I've got. Well, I've got two, this one and one steel one that lots of you would have seen me using last winter. Anywho, the other two that I have, the neighbor that I borrowed them to last spring, he says, I only need them for like a month. Okay. I told him I wanted them back. He never did bring them back. And I told him numerous times that I want them back. Anyway, he was supposed to come this week. Actually, he was supposed to come today. And then he ended up going to a bred cow sale, I think. So we'll see tonight if he's going to show up tomorrow or not. I'm going to fill this bunk right here at the cut feed pile and drag it out to the cows. Plus, I'm going to take a bucket load. Simply because not all of the cows will fit around. There's not enough bunk here for all of the cows, is what I'm trying to say. And I did take them one bucket load this morning, and now we'll fill them up good and proper. I'll bring you back here in a bit. Alrighty, so literally I built this bunk. Yeah, there's some crud in there. I'll knock it out a later date. But pull the chain and fill her up. I have another one, but I got to do a bunch of repairs on it. It's actually like 6 feet wide, and lots of you have seen me use it. Last winter we were putting cut feed in it, and we would also put round bales in it. So, but I got to do a pile of repairs on it. It's beat up and busted up pretty bad in numerous places. So, anywho, let's fill this bugger. I'll bring it back once we're full, and maybe even once we're out in the pasture. Here they come, digging right in. So now, just unhook this sucker. And last year I used this bunk, but we didn't really drag it back and forth to the pasture much, for the simple fact we had so much goddamn snow. And so I was just carrying it bucket load for bucket load. And it's kind of good cow therapy. You get to see your cows, spend time with them. Anywho, I want to show you guys where I fed that stuff this morning. Didn't feed nothing over here. Fed a little bit there. There's like nothing left. And you can see a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. They pretty much cleaned it right up 100%. So, pretty happy with that. So we'll make little piles out of this stuff. That way these girls have more room. And hopefully by Friday at the latest, I'll have my other 2 bunks. And then we won't have to worry about dumping it on the ground anymore. Actually, I'm going to turn around. You guys are going to end up with the sun in your eyeballs. CP's gonna have to get her horses out of here because I don't like feeding horses cut feed. My personal opinion is chopped up feed is not good for them. They have a different rumen than a cow. They don't have multiple stomachs like a cow does. So, in their case, they're better off with long stem hay. Bounce the bucket. What the hell am I doing that for? Well, we had a bunch of cut feed on the back side of the bucket here just to knock it off. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piles. That's good. How much feeding am I giving them per day? To be totally honest with y'all, I have no idea because I don't have a scale on my bucket. But that big bunk is 30 feet and it's basically 4 feet wide to the inside. And when it's right bone dry empty, it holds 3 bucket loads. And they got a bucket load this morning. So 3 bucket loads in there. Well, I shouldn't say 3 bucket loads. It's 3 bucket loads with the grapple open, not closed. That makes a big difference. So it basically holds with the grapple closed and it's right empty, just over 1 bucket load. One, maybe 1.5 top side. So we're almost 60 head out here in this pasture. So realistically, they got 3 big bucket loads for the whole day, and that should be more than enough for them. I'm gonna say approximately 900 and roughly, I want to say about 950 pounds per bucket. So maybe 1,000. So that's roughly 3,000 pounds. Yeah, it'd be borderline if they're getting enough feed. It would be borderline. Based at 40 to 43 pounds per head per day. Anywho, that's it for today, guys. I gotta feed grain to the calves, and I gotta put the tarp back on the motor of this log splitter. By now it'll be cooled off, that I won't burn the tarp. So I'll bring you back when we get back to the wood shack. Later. Alrighty, he's all nicely covered up. These logs here are gonna go to the hot water wood heated livestock water tank. We did split a few birch logs. You get a lot of wood out of a log this size. Like, to give you an example, they're big. They were too wet last year when we bought those. But anywho, there. We aren't quite 2 rows right full, but almost. So now we're, what the heck am I here? 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm 8 feet across, 8 feet high. So the back row is just about a full 8 feet. So that would be 1 cord. We almost got 2 full cords in here. I put 1 more full row in here. And we don't burn wood in the house solely as our main source of heat. As much as I would like to say we do, it's not. CP would never allow that, because the house would be way too hot on a regular basis. At this point, we have not started a fire in the house, because we had one night where it was minus 20. We had a couple nights where it was minus 6, you know, stuff like that. But daytime temps have been, on average, minus 3 to plus 6. So we just haven't started a fire yet. When daytime temps are basically minus 5 to minus 10 consistently all the time, then we'll probably start burning some wood in the wood burner in the house. Anyhow, I'll let you guys go. Enough of my chit chat. We'll catch you tomorrow.